the knowledge that Polo brings, I feel like is way more than what some of the competitors can provide. A lot of our senior staff members have been with the company for 15, 20 plus years. So bringing that knowledge just over the course of the time that we've been in existence, I think is huge, and it adds so much value. Also, I feel like just the quality that we provide, we have a running history of providing quality products.
Hello, we are starting another episode of Inspiring Innovation. We may have a challenge for the most Will Ferrell or Anchorman quotes that we can get into this specific podcast with our guest today, Alan Parrish. So Alan is the newest division manager for Polo Custom Products. He is the intersection between customers and our internal teams. He's making all the things happen behind the scenes to make the programs successful that he works with his customers on. And he's really at the intersection of design, engineering, and manufacturing for our customers. So we're really excited to have Alan on today. And, you know, this really escalated quickly, Alan.
Yeah, no, it's taking on the new challenge has been great, but I'm excited for it. I appreciate you having me here today to talk. So,
yeah, you bet. As you've stepped into the new role, what's excited you most about taking on this next step at Polo?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the challenge for sure, the empowerment really that I've seen even from the start of being here at Polo, the executive team, you know, my superiors do such a good job of empowering us to make the correct business decisions, you know, for the company, and to just take that to the next level. You know, like I said, the challenge, but then also just taking on some of our top tier accounts, being given that trust to make the best decisions possible and take on our top tier accounts. So,
yeah, it's a great way of putting it. I think one of the things that I feel like with our top customers, we really provide value is being strategic partners. Mm-hmm. And I think your role is so important in terms of figuring out how to align our internal resources to support the growth and success of our customers. And I think you do a great job internally advocating for them, finding solutions for them, and really trying to meet whatever we're physically capable of doing. Mm-hmm. When there's orders pulled in or there's, you know, different challenges that come up in today's manufacturing landscape, which is somewhat inevitable, but you do a great job with the customer. So I'm really excited that you're in the role.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that compliment. And on top of that, not just our top tier accounts, but also the ability to take on new prospects. And not that I wasn't doing that before, but my previous position was focusing a lot more on our legacy stuff. And I'll still be doing that, but also just the ability to take on some of those newer prospects and newer projects that are just a little bit bigger and need that knowledge and background that I now have in the 4 years that I've been with Polo.
It's a good point. And I meant to touch on this too, but I felt like people in your role, customer success manager too, but the division manager roles, especially you are like basically in charge of a business unit and making tons of business decisions and working internally with stakeholders to align, you know, the resources around their success. And so it is such a like MBA in practice, you know. Sure. It's like it's such a good business education to learn, you know, what our customers' needs are and find ways to strategically position ourselves to support them and to grow those accounts and grow those industries that we serve too, and other customers within those industries. So really exciting work, and glad that you're in the role. So let's start simple. What does your day-to-day actually look like as a sales division manager at Polo?
Kicking it off, I mean, your basic role is handling, like I was saying, our legacy stuff, current top tier accounts, but then also driving in new business, right? So starting off the day, if we're talking about just legacy stuff and our current customers, current products that we're manufacturing, what's hot, coming in for the day, reviewing those hot emails of, if there's been any quality issues, if there's been any sort of production delays, anything that I need to communicate to the customer, but also things that maybe I need to get from the customer, communicate to our internal team. They may have a shift in their forecast. They may have a shift in their demand, or all of a sudden a change pops up and we have to halt current production because this change is implemented. So there are certain things that absolutely need to be solved or communicated within our team immediately. So I feel like I kick off my day with that first, and then just kind of work through my tasks as far as if there's any new purchase orders, if there's any new, RMAs, returning material for any sort of issue, if there's any, again, changes that need to happen. So just kind of working through my tasks for the day with any of our legacy stuff, anything that's currently being manufactured, and then jumping into my current projects that aren't in production yet. So moving those along, that could be a project that's at the beginning phase where we're just working on quoting it. Well, what does that need to continue to get that moving along? I've got a current product right now that's going through a full validation. We're almost to production with that. So just working through all of my open tasks with any of those projects that I currently have on my plate, making sure they're moving along in the timeline that I have set with the customer to meet their expectations, but also what can Polo do? It's not just meeting their expectations, but also what can Polo do? And us being an advocate for Polo and saying, hey, look, I understand your timeline is this, but we can meet it in XYZ timeframe due to our processes. Outside of those two things, of course, we're visiting trade shows, visiting different prospects in person. Those trade shows are extremely important to get Polo's name out there, to present what we can do to different OEMs that are possibly around there looking for sewing, sealing, thermoforming, and we're there to assist them with their needs. So I would say that's a kind of an overall day-to-day with just handling current business and trying to drive in new business.
Yeah, those are good points, and a lot of ways that we could take that, but I feel like the trade shows are great from a networking standpoint. It's crazy. We started around the same time at Polo, and it's just crazy how tight the circles get and how you get to know more people, whether it's suppliers for products, whether it's competitors in the space, whether it's our customers that are coming through. And so it just gets more fun every time that we go, and we know more and more people, and the circles seem to get smaller and smaller, even though it's some of the biggest medical trade shows in the world. Oh, yeah. So that's really great. And another thing you mentioned is just spending time with our customers at our customers' location. And I think that's really a great way for us to be good strategic partners and work through what priorities their team are working through, walking through the products, how it fits into a larger kit or this motorcycle or, this medical device. So I think that's well summed up in terms of different ways that you're always working to figure out how to help our customers thrive.
Yeah, and to add to trade shows, we've even kind of changed our approach with trade shows. And how you and I started out, we felt like trade shows were just that opportunity to present Polo to the world and hope that somebody walks by that needs our capabilities. Now I feel like it's almost, yes, 50% that, but that also a lot of our current customers are at these trade shows. So it's 50% having those extra touches, maybe not even just at their location, which is great. It's very important for us to go to our customer's location and have those in-person meetings, but also seeing them at these trade shows and them seeing us. And it's like, wow, like everywhere I go, I see Polo, whether they're coming to see me, but then also I'm going to this, MD&M West and there's Polo, so it just adds to those extra touches that we're able to have throughout the year.
Yeah, it's interesting because, when we're trying to credit where our business is coming from, it's almost hard to say a trade show, but so much moves forward at trade shows. And there's so many different contacts that, are made there and meaningful discussions that move things forward. And so it's definitely an important part of the work, and also just great to get to see so many people, all in one shot. So really, really good points, Alan. When you're talking to major OEMs, what's the biggest mistake that you see them make when it comes to manufacturing strategy?
One of the biggest things for me that I see is the expectation on the timelines. They're coming to us with, hey, sometimes we need 500 units now, and then there's others that are a little more realistic when they come to us and, we need production 6 months out or 9 months out or whatever that is. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that they don't fully understand is for us to be the ISO certified that we are, the FDA certified that we are, there is a ton of paperwork, a ton of processes that are documented that we have to follow step by step on that process. I mean, there's so much that goes into it: building the BOM, sampling, raw material lead times, training of our production team, doing a pre-production run, and just putting that all together. Sometimes our OEMs have unrealistic timelines for what we can truly provide for you. It's not that we don't want to expedite things for you. I'd love to be in production tomorrow. And then that just drives our numbers, right? However, we still must follow our processes, every step of the way. And it takes time. Personnel, labor, just to go through that whole process, it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
On top of that, they don't always have all the necessary information that we may need. We've quoted sometimes based on construction drawings versus we need a true CAD drawing to get the actual lengths and the material usage. Otherwise, it's going to be an inaccurate quote. That's just one example. Maybe not having all of the information for, just packaging, or is this bulk packed? Is this single packed? We truly need as much information that you can give us to accurately quote your product. And sometimes that's not always given to us. We do a budgetary or initial quote, and then we get down the road and they're like, whoa, why are these more expensive? Or what, this is 25 or 30% more than you originally quoted. So having all of that information right away is only going to help our quoting. Last thing that I see a lot is cost to bring to production. They don't fully understand that there might be some machine purchasing you may need, the tooling that it costs, validation, sampling, just to get us to production. I don't think everyone fully grasps the sheer cost to get things to production sometimes.
There's levels to that, right? Because we have customers that are more than $20 billion companies that they've got very sophisticated budgets and timelines that fit well with our programs. And then we have, middle
to lower
tier or scaling companies that don't quite have some of those things. And then we bring a lot of value in terms of maybe offering them making drawings that will allow us to accurately get them a quote, or, different ways that we can automate a step in their process that they weren't getting before. So some cost savings and some different value that we can add to the process. Although, those things do take a little bit more time, but when you get it right and you get all that sorted out up front, then there's less surprises as you're getting into it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, this answer I feel like is going to change as I'm in this DM role over time.
Yeah.
Because the role that I was in, I did take on more of those middle to lower tier accounts and prospects. So I'm used to some of those financial constraints versus now taking on some of our top tier accounts.
Big leagues.
You're right, the big leagues.
But no, that's
so I do feel like sense. And that may not be as big of a constraint, in moving forward.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you've seen projects from early concept all the way to full production. Where do things usually get complicated?
Gosh, it can be, so many different steps of the way, but the first one that kind of pops into my mind is, of course, sampling. That's the big one, because they may come to us with a drawing, a prototype, whatever that is. And if we can't mimic that perfectly or how they want it into, their criteria or, and meeting their tolerances or whatever that may be, I feel like that's where it can get, kind of snagged. And there's a current project that I'm working on right now that we're trying to get to production. And we've went through, many different rounds of sampling, not to have any sort of faulty on our end, just minor tweaks here and there, minor cosmetic things. The customer is very demanding, which is fine. We want to meet your needs, but at the same time, that's going to create more sampling, more practice, more reps until we get that to that perfect product that you're looking for, right? That meeting your needs. That's definitely one of them. Validation and qualifications is definitely a hiccup for me. I have and again, not any sort of issues with Polo on this, but there's just during that validation process, customers want that timeline of, okay, hey, how long is it going to take to validate? Well, usually we're communicating that timeline as in a perfect world with no failures, with no issues, we should be able to make it in this time frame. However, there's unforeseen failures or machine tweaks that we need to do to narrow things down and really get to that concrete process of creating the quality product you're looking for. We can try and validate quicker. However, we don't want to have those failures in the field.
Right.
As I'm sure you've stressed in many of these podcasts, our products can't fail.
Right.
So we have to maintain that quality. And sometimes the validation qualification process takes a great deal of time.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, it ends up being better quality and more efficient when it does get to market, when you're working through some of the kinks, and especially with RF sealing too. I mean, it's like there are so many adjustments that need to be made to the machine to get it to a level where it's going to perform consistently and reliably on a day-to-day efficient basis. So I always joke around about our RF tech in Monticello being a wizard and having some magical capabilities to make those machines work. Pretty cool thing. A lot of smart people come together to make it all happen, and it's cool to quarterback that work. When a new RFQ, request for quote, comes in, what are you personally looking for right away to know that it's going to be a good fit for Polo?
First and foremost, is this within our capabilities? Not only is it within our capabilities, but is it within our secondary sourcing capabilities? Also, complexity and volumes, essentially. But really, yes, we have products that are extremely complex, that are lower quantity, which is great. But then we also have some that are not complex at all, simple. I'm working on a Velcro strap for a medical device right now, but it's extremely high volumes. Not only were we looking for, is it within our capabilities, but we're looking at how complex is it compared to the volumes that is needed. Is this something brand new to the market, or has it been out there, has been market researched, and now you're looking to scale, or has it already been out there and now you're to a point where our current manufacturer can't meet demand or can't meet, our increase. Now we're looking for that high scale manufacturing. So I'm definitely looking for things like that. And then also, how motivated is this customer, this prospect? Is it just a napkin sketch coming to us, which is, again, fine, but how motivated are they? Do they have full-on CAD drawings? Do they have prototypes already made? Has this been market researched? There are some that come to us with all of that already done, sometimes even supply chain chosen, materials already figured out. We've got all that done. Polo, we just need you to make it. Great. Or we do need you to be a little more hands-on. We don't have these things done. Not to say they're less motivated by any means, but it just kind of shows us how much they have already completed to get to this point and where we fit in.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, not a lot of business actually changes hands, but I think you mentioned a lot of really good scenarios in which we can help somebody scale when they're ready for, they've launched a product, it's having some success in the marketplace, or when they need somebody that's agile that, can keep up with increase or decreases in demands, but be a steady supplier for them that they can count on. And to piggyback off of that topic, what do you think differentiates Polo from some of the other competitors in our field?
Something you mentioned with RF welding was our magic behind the scenes that happen, but that only happens with the engineers that we have had for 20 plus years. The knowledge that Polo brings, I feel like, is way more than what some of the competitors can provide. A lot of our senior staff members have been with the company for 15, 20 plus years. So bringing that knowledge just over the course of the time that we've been in existence, I think is huge, and it adds so much value. Also, I feel like just the quality that we provide, we have a running history of providing quality products.
You mentioned the bill of manufacturing, which I think a lot of people call it different things, but I mean, those are packets of information, or now we're making those digital as well with video instructions. But one of the features of that is the quality history for years and years for some of our long running products too, of these changes were made all the way back to 2011. And so there's there's a lot of history behind how we got to the changes that we've made to run the product the way that we do for our associates to really learn from, so they avoid mistakes of the past and get a crash course in how to make the products that, like you said, that can't afford to fail.
Well, and I think that also is our quality management system that we have in place too, is just so much better. We've gotten compliments from many of our customers of, they've come to us with, hey, can you check on, XYZ from this lot number? And our quality team is going to that lot number. They know when it was manufactured. They know the machine settings during that manufacture. I mean, they could probably even tell you the weather, I feel like, at this point. So, and maybe not, but.
Well, no, it's in June, you got to have it set on this.
With humidity settings, with RF welding. So, our quality team can't say enough about them. The value add we bring with that is fantastic.
What's one project or customer story that really sticks out to you? Something that shows what we're really capable of?
Yeah, and I hate to state the obvious with this one.
But before we get into that, this podcast is brought to you by Polo Custom Products. We are a custom manufacturer that specializes in sewing, sealing, and thermoforming. We work with project engineers, sourcing professionals, and buyers to design, engineer, and manufacture products that cannot afford to fail. If you're interested in working with us, visit our website at www.polocustomproducts.com and fill out a request for quote form. Now, back to the show.
And I feel like we have this in a lot of our customer presentations that we talk to with our customer, but the product that we quoted back in 2018, started with quoting in 2018. We were, this is a medical product, of course, so needs FDA approval, but getting that one and scaling it as fast as we did was so impressive. With quoting from 2018 to 2022, when we were building 5 to 6 million units a year, this product was in all 3 of our manufacturing locations. Multiple machines were purchased for this. Just the ability to scale with our customers, I think, is a value add that is something that a lot of our other competitors just can't provide. And, with the big announcement with Dominican Republic coming into play, that just adds another manufacturing location for us. Yep. With now all 4 of them going to be FDA certified, ISO, 9001, 1345. There's no reason why we can't shift certain products around if we need to open up capacity for our customers. And that's what we did with this project.
But and the expansion of Topeka Rice Road too, and plenty of labor availability in both of our new locations. We really should be able to scale anything for anyone in a way that doesn't sacrifice quality or best practices or efficiency, and we can be really competitive at price. I mean, why wouldn't you manufacture with Polo with all that considered?
Well, and also what we learned with that too, I mean, not that we hadn't moved products from different facilities before, but this was such a big one to have it in multiple locations that we learned so much about how do we move products from different locations to others. And I just feel like we got so proficient at it that if it comes up in the future now, it's not going to be an issue for us.
No, it's science. Right now, are you seeing trends that are different than, 3-4 years ago when you started with our customers or in the industry?
Yeah. So 3 or 4 years ago when I started, of course, everything was tariffs, COVID. So we had the massive spike in freight costs and raw material costs, and then we're dealing with Section 301 tariffs, and then now we're still dealing with Section 301 tariffs and additional tariffs. What I have seen recently, and what we've heard from talking to our customers face to face, is a lot of our current customers are trying to stick with their approved suppliers and not take on new suppliers.
That's a good point.
If we're hearing that from them, then they're not the only ones doing it.
Right.
So for us to penetrate the market into new OEMs that we aren't currently doing business with. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for us right now, because not a lot of them are taking on and vetting new suppliers. They want to keep their current vendors, their current suppliers.
Yep.
They even want to consolidate those down into less.
Right.
And then, okay, which one of you overlap each other? Okay, now who is providing the best quality, and who do we like more? So we're going to reduce you, and we're going to take all of yours and go over to this one because they have all of your capabilities.
Right.
So what I'm seeing is reducing the number of vendors and suppliers that our OEMs have, which brings a challenge to us, but also can bring opportunity, because are we the one they like? Are we the one that's providing on-time delivery and quality products?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes, we are. So I feel like there's opportunity there where if they are reducing their suppliers and their vendors, that's where Polo swoops in and, hey, we're here to help.
No, that's a really good, valid trend. I've seen that with a lot of customers where they're reducing, and we're thankfully the ones that are getting into the supplier summits and hearing those things and finding ways to even make cost adjustments so that it's more attractive to do more volume with us. And there's there's a lot of that going on. I'd say another thing that you made me think of here is just nearshoring. A lot of uncertainty in the world has led to people doing a lot of analysis, and this is the age of data. So, I mean, there's been a whole lot of decisions being made in the last year alone. And I think there's a lot more that companies are going to be pulling the trigger on in the coming months. So,
absolutely.
It's definitely an interesting time, and it's been a good time for Polo from that sense of, getting more of the market share, in terms of working with customers that are reducing where we're making the cut in those discussions. So, and I think it's a testament to the work that you do and the value that we provide, and how, Polo goes above and beyond to just try to get the product to the customer on time, with no quality issues at the best price possible. If you had one piece of advice for project engineer, a sourcing manager listening, what would you advise them to do as they're thinking about their next project?
I mean, first and foremost, is it manufacturable on a higher scale? What you have here is your prototype. Is it manufacturable? Getting it to production, or based on how many units you're needing. Another thing that I want engineers to think about is, are there alternative materials or methods that make it more manufacturable or even lower cost, but still meets your needs? One of the projects I was working on was a cover for a tank, and this is just not an actual Army tank, but a small, a small tank. And this tank sat outside, and the material call out was like a polypropylene or something. And our supply chain was like, are they dead set on this material? Because we're talking very expensive material versus using a polyester that we would recommend that will meet all of their needs as far as UV resistance, being out in the weather, and will it last? And it's like, we've got this alternative material for you that's going to, cut your product almost in half or even more, and it's still going to provide you, what you need. So, and then also just don't overcomplicate it. There might be some products that come to us and we look at it and like, man, why do they do this, this, and this? So being willing to use our knowledge, our engineers, to maybe even make your product not only more manufacturable, but lower cost and better quality.
That's a great example of just how we're looking out for the customer. I mean, that could have been more revenue, for Polo, but we're really trying to make it, we want to show our value in making it as affordable as possible and making it a quality product that meets their needs. So great example of a partnership, Alan. What kind of impact do you want to have, both with the customers and with our internal customers and your Polo teammates? With
our customers, I want them to know that, I am here for you every step of the way. I'm always available. I'm going to get you in touch with the right department of Polo. If I don't have the answer immediately, I'm going to get it for you. And I know where to go to get that answer for you. I'm not going to give you unrealistic expectations. I'm not going to overpromise right? And undersell. So, that's what I want my customers to know is they can also come to me worry-free. I want them to know I can ask Alan this question. He's going to go get me the answer. And then they know they just need to come to me. When I get involved with some of our customers and there's this massive email chain with all these people, I may have answered that question, but then in another email, I may get that same question from another contact that was in that email chain. So it gets frustrating sometimes dealing with a lot of different people and answering the question multiple times. Right. I want my customers to know one person. They can come to me. Right. They don't need to go anyone else, and I will get you that answer.
Nice.
Internally, I want Polo to know, I want our executive team to know that I'm going to make the best possible business decision for Polo. To protect Polo, to protect our processes, whatever that may be. Again, not giving our customer unrealistic expectations. Right. So advocating for our Polo internal team and them telling me, Alan, we just cannot meet this timeline because of XYZ. Right. I will communicate that. I'm going to go to bat for you.
Collaboration is so important in our line of work because, again, so many smart people from so many different departments come together to get these products out into the world. And so I think that's a really well-stated way to bring things together is we want to make our systems and processes work with our customer systems and processes, and finding that middle ground is a whole lot of work. Yep. It takes a consistent and thorough communication. And so, yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. So for those people listening that don't know you yet, you're kind of a big deal. You're both a gentleman and a scholar. Your apartment smells of rich mahogany. What should they expect when they work with you, Alan?
All right, I'm going to throw this out there. And if you don't like it, you can throw it right back.
Nice. We have set the record for the most Anchorman quotes on one episode.
You are an absolute fantastic boss. I can't say the real thing. So, no, I want them to know they're going to get excellent customer service from me. The responsiveness, always being available. Giving the clear, accurate information, again, just kind of reiterating, just giving them those realistic expectations, those realistic timelines. I truly am here to work with you to grow your business along with growing Polo. And we're not going to do that if we don't do it together, if we don't build those relationships, if we don't have those not only in-person touches, but Teams meetings are great, but we've realized how much better it is when we are going to the customer. And, even if it's a meeting location, even if it's, hey, let's meet you at Monticello at our manufacturing location and let's go watch the product being made.
Yes. It's so valuable.
I want my customers to know that, I'm here for you. I'm going to advocate for you, and let's do it together.
You should do business with Alan Parrish. Thank you, man. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're interested in doing business with Alan Parrish, put a comment in the RFQ if you want to get on our website and submit some information about what your project might look like. We'll get you over to Alan. So thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for watching the show. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps get our show out there.